Can you hear that bird? He is still chirping like mad outside. Welcome to Algebra 2 CST release question number 85. It says, what is the sum of the infinite geometric series? We got 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 plus 1/16 plus, and it keeps going. So you might say to yourself, infinite? I can add up, I can find the sum of an infinite series. This goes on forever. How can I add up numbers that go on forever? What we're really talking about here by saying this is really the limit as you just keep going on to infinity of all these things added together. As long as the ratio here from one to the next is less than 1, the absolute value of that ratio is less than 1, this will work out. We can find the sum, or at least the number it approaches as you go on to infinity if you add all these together. So what are we doing here? We're multiplying this by 1/2 each time, times 1/2, times 1/2, times 1/2. Keeps going. And so my ratio, my R value is 1/2. There's a formula, a really handy formula that we can use for the sum of any infinite geometric series. The sum is going to be this T1 idea, this first term, what that is standing for, over 1 minus the ratio. And so what's my first term? My first term is 1/2. You could think of that as 0.5 as well. And you've got this over 1 minus 1/2. Notice this is the same thing as saying 1/2 over 1/2. Yeah, you could multiply by the reciprocal, but just think about it for a second. What's 1/2 divided by 1/2? What's something divided by itself? Anything divided by itself is always 1. So if you add this up to infinity, eventually you'll get infinitely close to, or you do get infinitely close to 1. So we say the sum is 1. Another way to think of this one before I circle the answer and move on, though, is to kind of think of like this. Pretend you've got this frog that he's really excited to jump in this circle at first, and he can jump half the way. So he jumps half the way, but then he gets tired, and he can only jump half as much, half the distance to the edge. And he just keeps doing that, and keeps doing that, and keeps doing that. So he'll never actually get to the edge, but he'll get infinitely close to the edge. And if he could go on forever, he essentially would be touching her right there at the edge. This is 1/2, 1/4, and so on. This would be a sum of 1 from there to there. Visually, that's what's going on. Either way you think of it, though, number 85 is choice A.